You are about to enter the Shockwave Skull Sessions podcast on shockwaveskullsessions.com. And now your host, Bob Nalbandian.
Thanks for tuning in to Shockwave Skull Sessions episode number 51. We got a great episode. This is part of our Bay Area Godfathers special. Of course, to coincide with the new upcoming Inside Metal movie, The Bay Area Godfathers, we are featuring some live in-studio guests. Last week we had, of course, Tim Healy, and this week we have the guys in Stone Vengeance, a legendary Bay Area metal band. Since 1978, this band has been together 4 decades long and have never broke up. We got all three of the guys right here live in the studio. Of course, Mike Coffey is featured in the Bay Area Godfathers movie. And he is also featured here on this podcast along with bandmates Darren and Anthony. And you might look at this episode and go, man, this is an hour-and-a-half episode. I'm not familiar with this band. But believe me, you definitely want to check out this podcast because not only is this hilarious, this is so informative about the Bay Area metal scene from the late 70s on through the 80s, through the metal and thrash metal scene. These guys have lived through it all, man, and they tell some incredible, never-before-told stories about the Bay Area metal scene. Also want to let you know, March 29th, we are doing our special matinee screening at the Roxy Theater in San Francisco. And it is going to be a noon screening. We're going to screen both Part 1 and Part 2. 3-hour screening. If you want tickets, go to the Roxy website, the Roxy, R-O-X-I-E, in San Francisco. And you could order tickets directly through there. I believe they have a few tickets left, but don't quote me on it. It's going real fast. So we only have limited tickets for sale for that. Also, if you're going to be in the Portland, Oregon area on April 3rd, Friday, April 3rd, we are doing a special screening at the Hollywood Theater in Portland, Oregon at 9 p.m. I believe you could go to the Hollywood Theater website as well and book tickets through there. Either way, you could just check it out on my Facebook page. It should have all the info, or you could email me either through Facebook or at shockwaveskullsessions@gmail.com. All right, so let's get right into this podcast. This was recorded live in the Shockwave Skull Sessions studio in San Lorenzo with the guys in Stone Vengeance and, of course, Matt Harnett. It's a long one, but it's a good one, so check it out. This is Stone Vengeance.
Shockwave Skull Sessions is part of our Bay Area metal special. We got the guys, the legends, Stone Vengeance here. Yeah. What's going on, gentlemen?
All right.
We got Michael Coffey here.
Yeah, that's me, Mike Coffey.
Bass and vocals?
No, guitar.
I'm sorry, guitar and vocals. That's right. Anthony
Starks, bass, and pipes.
Pipes? What's that?
Pipe line.
So you all three of you sing, right?
Pretty much.
And of course, Darren on drums. What's up, Darren?
How y'all doing?
And we got Matt behind the scenes there.
What's up?
Matt?
All right.
Nice.
Right on. So, dude, so great to have you guys on. I've heard so much about the band, and of course, you guys are featured in the Bay Area Godfathers. You were one of the godfathers of metal in the Bay Area. Of course, started late 70s, right? You started playing?
Started a band in 77, man.
Wow.
77.
So we're talking like when yesterday and today, we're still playing the clubs out here, and it was still before the metal scene really broke here, you know. So you were like very early on.
Well, it was definitely underground, you know. I mean, it wasn't in those early days. Wasn't really calling it metal yet. You know what I mean? It was hard rock or high energy rock, you know, stuff like that.
That was the name everyone used in LA too. High energy rock and roll.
Set yourself apart from like a lot of the top 40 that was happening back then, you know.
Yeah, back in the late 70s, you're right. It was all high. We're high energy rock, man.
And the thing is, like you said, I remember Priest, man. That was especially when when people would ask me, well, how do you describe heavy metal? Well, go by British Steel,
right?
You know. British Steel, amongst others, you know. Of course, you can't leave out, Deep Purple and
sure,
so many bands that was influenced by them. But anyway, this is Mike talking, you guys, in case you get confused on.
So you go by Michael or Mike?
Whatever, you know,
Michael Coffey. Now, how did the three of you guys meet up?
Me and Anthony kind of came up together. You know, Anthony stayed across the street from me with his grandparents. And Darren, we didn't know him. You know, but we all went to school together. But I was older than them. You know, they were youngsters.
And you guys were all into the heavy music.
Darren wasn't. He wasn't in the band.
Okay.
In the band in the early days, I was really trying to have a 4-piece.
Okay.
You know, and Anthony was real young, and I really wasn't thinking about.
He didn't want to let me join the band.
Yeah, I didn't really want to put him
He was
in
like,
the band.
I asked, man, can I get in? He was like, man, I don't think so, man. I was like, man.
He was young, man. We were like the rest of the guys, we were like 14, 15, and he was young as hell, man. 4 years under me.
That's awesome. You started young.
But he was like a little brother to me, you know, hung around with me, you know. And I liked him, but
Mike used to come up to school if somebody was bothering me. He would come up to school and say, "Man, don't if you bother him anymore, it's gonna be me and you."
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Brotherhood, right on.
There was a guy named Mark.
Watching out for your boy. There you go.
Yeah, he was my little brother, and so in those days, I wanted a 4-piece. Even at one point, we had a 5-piece. You know, I mean, that's because really for me, I'm really a rhythm player. Right. Rhythm guitar is really what I do. I mean, I can play lead, you know, and people like some of the stuff I do, but I don't really. That's not really my forte, you know. It's rhythm. The rhythm. If you listen to our music, it's rhythmic. It's more rhythmic, you know. And so, yeah, I didn't want to put Anthony in. He was young, but listen, he stayed. He was the one that stayed.
So you had different members.
Oh yeah, a lot of different guys. When by the time that I hired Darren on. Anthony knew Darren could play, but he wasn't a metal drummer, you know, and he didn't have no drums. And we had
played in the school band though, and he was good.
But Anthony knew. We had went through maybe about 4 drummers, and when you know how that goes, when the drummer go, his drums is gone.
Right.
And so we had a choice.
To practice.
Yeah, one guy ran from us, man. We had a damn show to do the next day. And the guy didn't want to practice. You know, we got a show the next day. Of course, we got to practice, you know. And me and Anthony was like, where this motherfucker at, man? And so we're walking up the street, and then he's coming down the hill towards us. And we're thinking like, oh, okay, he's late. He's late. Right. And he's walking towards us, and we're walking towards him. And as we get closer, he starts smiling. And he's smiling. I'm thinking he's smiling because he know I'm going to talk shit. Right. Like, what the fuck you been, you know? And then as he gets closer and closer, he take off running.
Wow.
The motherfucker hit the corner and shot up the street. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. And he was gone, man. You know, I didn't know he was doing drugs. You know, but we had no idea.
What drugs was he doing?
Oh, yeah, Will was getting high back then, man.
Weed?
Nah.
No, man, the other stuff.
He was doing
all
pills
kind of
and
other
all.
stuff.
Will
Man.
used to get out, man. I didn't know until
well, it's a
later
blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
You don't want a guy like that.
But you know, but then when the show happened, he showed up and we got through it. You know what I mean? And this was before Darren. And so I saw Darren by TikToks. Remember TikTok, the restaurant on 3rd, San Francisco on 3rd. TikTok.
And I was walking by.
No, you were at TikTok with your auntie.
No. I was walking by. And you and Rand was at TikTok.
Okay, that's right.
And you was in the car and Rand was at the window.
You're right. You know, you're right, D.
Yeah.
We were, me and Randy was sitting in the car at TikTok, and I saw Darren. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, man, come here. And Darren was looking scared and shit, like he thought I was going to do something to him. He didn't know me, you know. And he came over and...
Did you know he played drums or no?
Yeah, because Anthony
knew
that Darren played he saw him playing in a band in the school band.
Okay.
And so he knew that he had what it took. He knew he didn't play metal, but he knew that he had what it took, and we could train him.
Now, was this still late 70s or?
No, this was 80s.
This is 80. This is 82 by then. We had already been through about 4 drummers, 4 or 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You know, by then, and it's like he didn't have drums, but I heard he could do it. I had some money in the bank. My life savings, I had about $700. We used to go to Angelo's House of Music up on Geneva Street. My fucking drum set was like, what, $3,000? And that was not including the hardware. Just the drums, man. And Anthony saw a ad.
It was an advertiser.
I was looking in the paper. I don't know what
it was. An advertiser.
To look in no, I don't even think advertiser was. I was the Chronicle.
Oh,
my grandmother used to deliver to the house, and I just started looking at the drums, and I said, "Whole drum set, what was it, $399? Some hardware included."
Yes,
it was something like that.
5-piece,
cymbals included.
And the thing is, it was in the paper, and it said full drum set, ROC drums. I think that's Republic of China.
Okay. Oh, wow.
You know, that was the
Nice.
and the guy was a Japanese guy, Glenn Kwan, and he had a warehouse.
He was Japanese?
Yeah, Glenn
Kwan.
was
Okay. I was like
Japanese. Yeah. And he would get the parts and put them together in the warehouse, you know, sand them down, and he would do like put a nice edge on the bass drum and make it sound better, you know. So how much was it, like $3.99?
Three something. It was three something.
And hardware included.
That was
Not the
unheard
cymbals.
of.
Cymbals wasn't included. You guys don't mind us reminiscing, right? You
Oh,
don't
no,
mind.
man.
cool.
That's what this podcast is all about.
So yeah, because I'm just remembering him. Okay, thank you. So anyway, $3.99, hardware included. Not the cymbals, but hardware included. Which I told you, $3,000 was at the other place with just the drums, you know. And we saw the drum set, man, and
It was nice.
it was nice, man. Nice.
You still got that, right?
Yep.
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 Still
It's
got
just,
it.
he just expanded it. Well, Darren got about 6, 7 drum sets now.
Yep.
We remember being poor.
So you guys are still playing, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
We just performed in December at the Thrasher party.
Thrasher.
Yeah, we just played in
Skater
December,
Skater of the
right?
Year Thrasher party.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You got to let me know, man, when you guys are playing.
It was
Shoot me
was
like
off the hook.
that.
But
Thrasher called us.
13th, I think.
Thrasher Magazine?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
We did
played
it
a
before.
couple.
We did
played,
a Skater of the Year before with them.
2012, and
Yeah.
then we just did
Those
this.
Stratus audiences was off the chain.
Yeah, I mean, there's some footage online. John Rios, he filmed some of it. Man, it was,
Well, you did a lot of major shows. One thing you talk about is the Day on the Dirt Festival that you did.
Oh,
back
man.
in the 80s.
West. Remember Wes
yeah.
Robinson?
Wes Robinson. Yeah, with
Did you know
Slayer.
that?
I heard
Slayer,
a lot about
Exodus,
him.
Testament.
Yeah.
Legacy. Was they Legacy then? Testament.
I don't know if they played that.
I know
Did they?
Slayer played.
It
Slayer,
was
Suicidal Tendencies, Exodus, Slayer.
Blue Cheer,
Yep.
Road
Roadrunner,
Runner.
yeah.
It was about 14 bands. I don't even remember all the bands. It was a lot of them. You know, it was called Day
On the Dirt.
Right.
Right there, right there in Berkeley.
Rest for the money he be trying to. What was Ruthie's like a 500 and some people limit, and he used to cram like
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
he used to cram 1,000
Wes was
people.
always breaking the law, man. He would have it.
A
We
fire
would be
hazard.
there. We played a show with GBH, man. They had like a party across the street. People were partying in the parking lot across the street, you know,
yeah.
just because it was so packed inside. And when you go in, man, it was perspiration just
Yeah.
Off the ceiling.
off the ceilings, man. You walking, you slipping on the floor.
Yeah.
It was
Because you'll be standing there, you feel something drop on you, you swept down, somebody spit on you, but it's the
The ceiling. So,
ceiling
yeah,
perspiration
yeah.
off the ceiling.
I remember. Hey, you remember that night? I think we was playing with Possess, right? Now Possess is, if I'm not mistaken, they were headlining. We look across the street. This is how Ruthie's in Berkeley. We look across the street, and Jeff, the lead singer, the bass player, he's so drunk.
what was he doing?
Remember when he was walking through the parking lot staggering? He couldn't even hardly stand up.
Jeff, yeah.
And they were headlining.
They hadn't played
They
yet?
hadn't played yet.
Yeah.
And he was drunk
He
as
was,
hell.
oh, he was gone.
I don't
He
think-
was
and then he
gone.
was so drunk, he was just standing on
Oh,
stage.
I remember that show.
He wasn't even playing.
Oh, we were cracking up, man. Jeff was toe up, man, and when by the time they hit the stage, he wasn't even playing the bass. He just waved his arms, toe up.
What's another cool fact about we was playing a couple of times at Ruthie's was, remember when Cliff Burton was there, and after we played, he said he'd like to kill evil?
Yeah, that was one of his favorites.
You talk about
cool.
that, actually, yeah.
Oh, I talk about
Yeah,
that.
and the bell bottoms and
Yeah, yeah.
seeing
Oh,
them at
yeah,
Day on the
that was
Dirt.
Yeah. I never met Dave. I met the Metallica guys. Me and Anthony met them at the record vault.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kirk had just joined.
Yeah.
Right.
But we had seen him, you know, a few times when Dave was in the band, but then
Sure.
Dave wasn't there anymore, and we were at the record vault, and they were all cool dudes as far as to me, you know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, you know, some people felt later on that, whoa, guys, they not living up to Metallica, to the name, but nah, as far as I'm concerned, when I saw them motherfuckers at that Exploited,
Exploited, yeah.
fucking show when Discharge.
Discharge, that was it. Yeah, yeah.
Discharge, man. I went up there. I was just off. I wasn't working this night, and I was off. I said, man, let me go do something, music, you know. And Anthony was working, so I just went by myself, you know. And I went to go see. I like Discharge, so I went to see Discharge at the Mabuhay, you know.
Right.
And it was jam packed, of course. And James and Lars showed up. And I remember talking to James. James was like standing right next to me with a guy. Lars was kind of further up front. And then when Discharge started playing, you know, I'm standing there digging them. And the next thing I know, James was gone, and the crowd was going crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking
Those
about,
punk shows.
this is before Toby Rage from Exodus.
Right.
Kind of crossed it up. Because that's who I saw. For me, Toby Rage, he was the guy. Him and Andy. Andy
Airborne Anderson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those two guys were the ones that I saw, that we saw
Right.
cross
Metal and
slam
punk,
dance. Because before, everybody just banged their head.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
That's all you saw was
Yeah.
a sea of head banging. You know,
Right,
that's
right.
what you saw. And then they called it mosh.
Right.
Mosh now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
punk's called a slamming. The
slam
metal
dance.
call
That's
it.
what, that's what it was. Slam dance.
Metalheads call it moshing. Yeah, at that
and
point.
those guys were the ones that I remember that brought that element in. That's why I knew those guys, Metallica. That's why I knew them. That's why I had to respect them. I don't care what nobody said. I saw them motherfuckers, and they was for
Right
real.
in the pit. Yeah.
And
What
back
was they
then,
doing? Try what you seen them doing.
basically, I'm saying that I'm setting it up. How it was. You know, Bob. You know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
The punk rockers didn't like long hairs. They didn't they didn't respect them. They didn't like them. And if you were at their shows, man, they try to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, and James and Lars, they were up in the thick of the shit, man.
Yeah.
Getting bounced around. Lars, that little tough motherfucker, he was getting thrown around,
Yeah.
thrown all back. Lars just jumped right back in that shit.
Yeah.
I was looking, and let me tell you something, man. I wasn't getting in that shit.
I tried it one time. Yeah. I got knocked back. I'm like, oh, cool.
No,
I stayed away from those punk shows. I mean,
I wasn't fucking with it, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what. So when I saw that, when I saw James and Lars getting slammed around, and them motherfuckers would go right back in that shit and slamming around, they getting Lars is, Lars is a little guy kind
Sure.
of, he getting thrown back, and man, shit, Lars jumped right back. I said, that's a tough little motherfucker right there.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I never forgot it.
Yeah.
And I stood back, I'm watching, I'm enjoying the show, and I'm not going nowhere near that shit, because I know, and I saw how the guys were looking at him, and they didn't care, man. Tough motherfuckers, man. And so I respected those guys, when I saw that, because fake motherfuckers ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
They just not gonna do that, man. Real motherfuckers, they weren't scared to get hurt, so.
I'm real, and I still wasn't doing it.
Yeah. I never did too. But back then, that's how it was. As you said, the punk and metal was so separated.
Yes, it was.
Especially like I grew up in Orange County. There's a place called the Cuckoo's Nest, which was like the punk rock capital. That's where they had all the bands. And they would come out there if they saw long hairs there, they'd pin them down and cut their hair off and that kind of stuff. It was like, you just did not go. People went, and it started to cross over afterwards in the mid 80s, what you're talking about, or early 80s. But back then, late 70s into 80, 81, it was a separate thing, and you didn't really cross those boundaries unless, And even some of the thrash shows and the death metal, when in LA, I was just talking to Tim about the Olympic Auditorium when they started the crossover, it'd be Slayer, Anthrax, and DRI, and you'd have the punk and metal GBH, and all these bands would play with the metal bands. It was scary. It was some crazy, crazy shit.
Yeah. Being at some of those shows, I remember I would feel sorry sometimes when I saw a guy come in there, like an Exodus show.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man!
Yeah,
or wearing a rat shirt or something.
Yeah, man.
You talk about that too. That was hilarious. Yeah. Paul Bailoff
myself. See, the thing is with us with Stone Vengeance, the punk rock people liked us because they felt like they would say to me, "Well, you guys they weren't ready for in the early days. They weren't really ready for what was happening with metal. A lot of the punk rockers, they didn't really care for that, and they would say with us, they would say." You guys are more rock and roll, which I thought we were metal myself, but you don't know what people are hearing, but they could hear it. They say, we like you guys. You guys are more rock and roll. They considered a lot of the metal guys kind of conservative, and I think the punk rock, the political thing, and they just looked at us like we were kind of like, I guess, middle of the road. I don't know.
Right.
But I remember Mike Muir, the singer,
Suicidal. Yeah.
We played with...
Day on the Dirt or
no, not
that was out there in Oakland.
Oakland, '86. It was the Scottish Rite Temple, one of Wes's shows. It was who was
Legacy was
Legacy was there.
Okay.
yeah, they were still Legacy.
Yeah. Okay.
Forbidden.
It was Forbidden, Us, Las Rocket,
Oh, wow.
Legacy,
Yeah.
Suicidal.
That's a great bill.
Suicidal,
Yeah.
It felt kind of good, man. You know, I was walking backstage, and Mike from Suicidal, he said, "Man, you guys should change your name to Stone Jammin'."
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Jamming.
Stone jamming.
Because, like I said, it's the rhythm.
Sure,
Rhythm, you know,
sure. Well, you guys definitely had that. And it sounded like you went into more of the thrashier direction a little bit later, huh?
Yeah, it was like, for me, it wasn't conscious, you know, it was just the influences. Because the first person that I heard say thrash was Ron Quintana.
Right.
That was the first, to me, I don't remember anybody else that I heard or read that said thrash. He was the first person to play us on the radio, you know. So I
Right.
love that guy. You know what I mean?
KUSF, yes.
Yeah. And Ron, he would always say, this band was really thrashing. And Stone, they were great. They were really thrashing. And that was new.
He's the one that turned me out. Back when I was younger and I was doing my own little fanzine out in L.A., I heard about you originally through his Metal Mania fanzine. I used to see he would, and he would send flyers. We were pen pals back then, and that's like, because you know there was a band which I was equated to, an all black metal band from L.A. called Soundberry.
Yes,
Yes, and I know you know, great guys. I used to see them at the clubs all the time, and they were a metal band, so it was always like, wow, an all black metal band. So seeing you guys come in the Bay Area was kind of related to me with them, because they were the same. They were always grooving a lot. I mean, and everyone had respect for them because they would play, and it was like, at first it was like, what the fuck is this? When they play, they're like, holy shit, these guys are fucking. Because they would play with Rat, they played with Metallica when Metallica was still in LA. They did shows with them. They did shows with Motley Crue all the time, and even those bands. I mean, Soundbear would come up total professional and they just like, this is how we got to sound.
Stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, and now there was a band, because going back, a lot of people in this Bay Area Godfather documentary, they talked about a band called Harvey from the 70s.
Oh, Harvey, yeah.
Another all black. I guess they were more hard rock kind of funk.
They were all brothers.
Mike Varney, all these people talk very like they were like the big band from that time. And
we knew those guys. We never played with them, but they weren't playing anymore by the time I got to really talk to Reggie.
Reggie
Harvey.
Reggie Harvey.
Yeah.
But all those guys passed away, huh?
I heard,
Yeah, Reggie's gone.
Yeah.
I believe all of them.
All of them.
They
I
said.
think all of them are. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's a shame,
I forgot what, because Reggie used to run jam session up on Cortland at that little spot up there on Cortland.
Andre used to. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when he passed away, all that stopped.
Something else I wanted to say. Who we were talking about?
You know, while you think about that, I just want to say this little neat fact about us, because when I first got in the band, we really started going and trying to play clubs and stuff. It wasn't no internet or nothing like that. It wasn't, So most people that knew me or knew Mike, if they were really close, they knew we was trying to play music. But most people didn't have any idea that we was doing what we was doing, because they didn't know. And if we tried to tell them, this is what I do, they'd be like, man, you lying. Yeah. Then after that, when people find out, excuse my language, but they say y'all niggas is crazy. The only reason I actually even tell people that know me now is the fact that I can show them. Yeah. I can pull up on my phone. This is me on stage. Or I can put it on YouTube. This is me. Because other than that, even I tell women, they be like, what? Nah.
Yeah, that's right.
Get that all the time.
Niggas crazy.
I get that all the time.
You niggas is crazy. You niggas is crazy. You playing that crazy? You niggas. But I didn't give a damn. We didn't care.
Well, that is ballsy, because even when we did the Rise of LA Thrash Metal, a lot of the people we interviewed, guys from Body Count, and they got the bass player now, Vince. He used to play in a band called. What were they called? They were on Nuclear Blast, Steel Prophet, and Caton from Hyrax and all these guys, and they were getting the same stuff. They were getting more crap from black people saying, "What are you guys playing that kind of music for?" They didn't accept it. They're like, "Wow,
our very first show together was this festival they had in San Francisco, the Juneteenth Festival."
When
we played our first show was the Juneteenth talent show.
Oh man.
Yeah, because you had to get in that to get into the festival.
Yep.
Right.
We actually
Juneteenth, the
performed
winner of
on-
that get to perform at the Juneteenth either Saturday or Sunday.
Wow.
So we go to the Juneteenth at Booker T. Washington Rec Center. Everybody
That
in
was a
there.
gymnasium.
It says Rec Center.
Wasn't we playing on tables?
Yeah, they
Yes.
had tables like
They had
on
set
stage.
table
Oh,
for a
shit.
stage. So we get there.
I would never do that again.
We
Yeah, it
like
wasn't
people like, oh man, what type of music you play?
You're probably the only metal band there.
We
huh?
was like, oh, we play.
Yes.
See, back then we didn't say metal. We said,
No,
Right,
we
yeah.
did. It was
We said,
metal
oh,
then.
metal,
Because you
okay.
had joined the band.
Yeah.
It was metal. Cause
They said, yeah, we play metal. They like, you play what?
They didn't know what the fuck that was.
Man, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
We got the plan. People looking like,
All
Man.
black audience.
nah, mind you,
Oh,
mind you,
They looking at us like,
everybody that's in the talent show dancing or
they were just
they got
Lips.
dancing. Hold on. They were dancing. They had one R&B band.
Right.
yeah,
I forgot their name,
I did too.
but they played
Eyes-Eye.
Eyes-Eye. That was the name of it.
And they were doing Michael Jackson 5
They was
songs.
doing funk R&B.
Sure.
Everybody that sung came up doing R&B singing.
Top 40, man. They wasn't doing original. They wasn't even doing
No,
original
listen to
shit.
me. I know that. That's what I'm saying.
You got it.
Can I do this? Yes,
Sir. Yes, sir.
So everybody doing their R&B. That's all it is. I mean, place is full. All up in the.
Sure.
I mean, here we come. They went, what they finna play? what they finna do?
And we played one of our
Man,
classic songs.
The first song we played was Malice.
And that's one of our
Hardest
hardest fucking
fact.
And we was younger then, so we used to
Man,
jam
we
it
were playing like
super
300
Man.
miles an hour. I was 7.
When you play this,
Oh, back
Oh,
then?
back
Oh,
then.
man.
82, I was
wow.
what, 17?
oh, that's a teenagers. Okay.
I was 82. I was
17, yep, 17.
Going on.
17.
16.
Yeah.
Man, we were
17.
fucking playing Time Is at Hand.
Yeah.
Malice,
Screaming.
some of the most mayhem songs. When I think back at that, I just, when I think back, I was like, how the fuck? I can't even believe I did that.
We had the
So
balls
you
of
were
young
ahead
men.
of the pack before the. I mean, we're talking before you were before Metallica and Exodus and Legacy turned into Testament and Death Angel. You were doing this years before, so you were ahead of
See,
these guys.
And it's a trip. The guy who was the MC of the Juneteenth Festival,
Yeah.
Right.
he liked us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we
He
didn't
liked
get
us
picked.
because we didn't get picked. We didn't
Right.
win. Of course, we didn't place.
Right.
We didn't get picked. But dude said, "Hey, man,
They couldn't handle it.
y'all,
Yeah.
I want
Oh,
these."
yeah.
He knew.
Right.
He got us to play the Frankie J.
He was a famous DJ out here.
Yeah, okay,
And
cool.
he was like one of the judges.
Yep. And
And
he
he
said,
saw
he said,
in
man,
anyway.
He put us in both
he said, I'm gonna call you guys. So I want y'all to, I want y'all to play.
Yeah.
And we
Because, we knew.
we played the Juneteenth Festival. It was a empty lot. They had the stage sit up high so people looking up at
Oh,
you.
one of those. I remember those.
All you
Yeah,
see
when
was
those-
people
Wow.
everywhere.
Tens of thousands.
Damn.
We having back
Got
then.
the,
But
we got the unloading the truck. That's when Mike had an acoustic cabinet and Ant was playing out of a 215.
No, Ant had that big
big
The
sun.
Sun. That's Sun.
18.
That's all he had was the
Sun
18.
whipper. That's
Oh,
That's
horn.
all he had was
horn like. Wasn't that a
With the
horn?
hand-
yeah,
peg.
with the Ampeg
Head.
He had just the 18. Mike had a cabinet
Low
with four
12.
412s, the horns. And they're like, man, what y'all finna do?
We still got the equipment.
Man, what the fuck y'all finna do with this? We get up there, we start playing. I'm looking at the audience. I see people like,
Yeah, that's what would happen.
That's
They
awesome.
would be
They were
shocked,
shocked,
but
yep.
because even when we did the audition at the
Booker T.
Booker T,
The-
when we did that, they didn't boo or nothing. They
sure
just
didn't.
was shocked. They would. It's like all these people, and when I think back, it makes me laugh because I would never do that again.
Right.
But man, we were head banging, dude, and playing 1,000 miles an hour,
Yeah.
screaming.
But you know,
we didn't have long hair like everybody else
Right,
had,
right.
right? We didn't have long hair like everybody else had,
Right.
but we had them Foreign Legion hats on.
Yeah, I bought everybody
The
Foreign Legion
hat
hat.
with the things in the back.
Oh, right, the back. Yeah.
Yeah, we banging.
So it looked like hair.
We
Yeah.
banging.
And after we did the the talent show.
Right.
The guys from the Izod came up. Man, y'all.
They liked it.
They liked it.
Man,
Y'all.
you guys was grooving. We were trying to groove like you guys. 'Cause they played the festival too, and they said, "Yeah, we were trying to groove like." They called it grooving. We, headbanging.
Right.
They dug it because we doing it in unison. But when we back to the audition, I remember they said, "This is what they said at the beginning: We're going to judge you off originality."
You're definitely original.
Skill and all this old bullshit. But then we didn't get picked, and it was like these other motherfuckers ain't original. They doing Michael
cover
Jackson
songs.
shit.
Yeah,
doing
So,
Michael
of course,
Jackson.
I'm walking past the judge table looking mean,
They doing
these motherfuckers. How the
it-
fuck y'all ain't gonna pick us? But I should have known better.
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
But I'm young and thinking we putting our heart into this shit. But then Frankie J.
Hooked
he
you up
told
at
me,
that
said,
show,
"Man,
yeah.
Nah, that's talent."
There's always something that
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
So, Darren, you joined in '82. So this is when the club scene, the metal scene, Metallica were still in LA, coming up, doing a lot of shows. You mentioned with Dave Mustaine, and of course Exodus were around, and that was kind of when it all started. And you were right in the heart of it then.
Yeah.
And you kind of got. How was that? Were you accepted into the whole metal community with that, or were you doing?
I would say, first we were. I remember a guy. We were on the cover of the San Francisco Weekly, and he interviewed us, and he said something. He said that his wife turned him on to us, and said that it was obvious to me when I heard the music that it was created in isolation, and that's what we were, because we didn't really know anything about the whole scene. We didn't really know. We were just like, when I first going to the record vault. That's when the Pam and Zeri and Greg, we were
Bob
friends
Gamber.
with them.
Yeah.
And they and Vern and all of them. And they were the ones that it told me about Metallica and those guys. And when we went and saw them, it was like, well, now that's our peers.
Right.
Because to us, all the people that we looked up to were mostly overseas.
Yeah.
There was the
Judas Priest
Motorhead
and Motorhead,
and older than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we didn't even realize that's why we were playing fucking Juneteenth. Because we trying to play wherever we could play. Because a lot of clubs we couldn't get in and we too young. And those guys were certainly too young. And
we played black metal on 3rd Street in the heart of Hunters
ghetto,
Point.
in the fucking ghetto.
In the heart of Hunters Point.
Black
at an
metal,
outdoor festival.
Outdoor Juneteenth '83. We played Raven.
Oh, with Raven.
Inquisitor.
Oh, wow.
Fucking
Love that.
Venom.
That's a rare song, too. That was off a...
Venom.
yeah.
Wow.
I think we used
Well,
to
I
do-
saw a video you doing black metal. Yeah.
I used to sing it back then.
We,
but now I haven't.
we used to do Poison too. Remember that poem Poison?
The song,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Venom song.
Oh, Venom, yeah,
Yeah.
Poison. Okay.
Not the band
And-
Poison, for those that are
no,
listening.
no.
The Venom song Poison.
Venom.
Yes. I know better.
Get us beat up when we walk out of here. And we used to do Angel Dust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great tune.
Do Angel.
Wow. And Venom were real underground back
Yeah.
then.
So those were people that most people weren't even here. A lot of people weren't hip yet.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was happening.
Well, you know, Metallica, when they started in LA, people don't know, they were a cover band. They did all Diamond Head songs. They did Blitzkrieg, Sweet Savage, all their songs they did. I think they only had Hit the Lights was there. When I first saw them, I saw their very first show. And then when they opened up for Saxon in '82, they were a cover band. I think Hit the Lights and maybe Motor Breath, I think was their, like I said, second original. But they did all cover. But nobody knew because nobody knew who Diamond Head was. Nobody knew who Sweet Savage or Savage was.
Yeah,
So
we were when we would mix it up. We were doing Long Live Stone Vengeance. We were doing Malice. Time is at hand. But one thing about it that kept us feeling kind of good, even though the majority of when we play in front of a black audience, the majority of them they didn't get it, but it would always be a few.
right.
Like I remember one guy said, he said, man, fuck what they talking about, man. He said, you guys gonna make $1 million. We ain't made that $1 million, but it was nice.
Sure.
It was always, and when we were doing black metal on 3rd Street, it was some girls singing it with us. Because some people could get it, man.
Sure.
There was a group of girls standing in front of the stage and they were singing black
It was
metal.
Groupies? She had any groupies there?
Nah, it wasn't groupies. Yeah, I wish. Them groupies was playing that music.
So were labels because I mean all these bands eventually when it comes from Metallica Metallica, then Exodus and Testament and Death Danger. There, all the labels were, they were getting deals. What was going on with Stone Vengeance? Were labels coming up here to the Bay Area, checking you guys out?
With us, like I said, it was
because you did a lot of demo tapes, I know, throughout the '80s, and you didn't really do any records till the '90s.
Yeah,
huh?
That's when I said, well, we got to do this shit on our own. It was like, of course, I was holding out, thinking, okay, we're gonna get signed one day, to get the deal. But in the meantime, man, I was sending our music, man, behind the Iron Curtain, dude.
Yeah.
When metal was illegal, and like Eastern Germany,
they
and all
love that shit out
and
there,
Russia,
Poland and Russia.
That's the shit I was doing, man.
Yeah.
People started writing me, man, in early '80s, like around 84.
Well, you played Holland, one of the big festivals out there,
played
right? Germany, right? Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah,
the guys.
It was nice playing Germany.
Hey, the guys, especially the second time. Yeah, the second time they were chanting our name. We never experienced that before.
Well, they were chanting it at the first time too.
They was.
That felt good, man, because I'm a kind of person. I kind of like to stay home.
Sure.
And Anthony likes to get out. Darren is like between both of us. He gets out, and Anthony likes to get out there. Mm-hmm. But being that far away from home, and then having a crowd. Before we even ready to play, Stone Vengeance.
We setting up.
Yeah. Wow.
We setting up. Yeah,
you got a big underground
people
following.
People came up from Bavaria, and they were like...
Austria.
And they had waited a long time to see us, and then they would... And they said, like, wow, you guys, we understand. You guys are older. And we didn't really expect you guys to really be able to do it like you used to. But... we still did it. Had to take a little ibuprofen afterwards, but shit.
You know what's funny about being older and stuff, because especially that second time we jammed, we got down, and then they were giving, these guys don't really drink like me, and I try not to drink as much anymore, but I'm in Germany for the second time in my life. They're giving me free beer. I'm about to get fucked up. So anyway, I'm getting messed up with the beer. Now keep in mind, I didn't get, when we was on stage, I gave it all I had. I don't have no more, but I'll get drunk. And then one of the young guys from one of the other bands say, hey, bro, we're going to the hotel across the way over there, go get hammered, man, going up all night. And I was like, looking at him like,
your ass gonna die.
Man, I said, man, I gave it all I got up there. I'm getting hammered now. When we leave here, I'm getting in the bed.
And it was a trip, man, just the respect of having, when men want to give you a kiss on the cheek and on the hand, man. It's like, guys,
Yeah.
It was like,
I'm waiting on the girls to do that.
But it was nice, though, man. But that's respect. And then one girl, and his guy and his girlfriend came up to me and asked me to sign a tape or something that they had bought, and the girl couldn't speak good English, and the girl, she said something to her guy, and she looked at me and said, okay. And I was like, okay. And then he kissed me. I thought she was asking, can she give me? But it was like, but I understood. And that felt good. But getting back to your question.
Yeah. Hold on. One more fun fact about that. That first time we played, after we got through playing, there was a lot of people talking to us, and it was all good. And this one guy, I noticed when he was talking to me, he was getting real close, like he wanted to, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is a German thing, and I'm not about to go to jail in Germany for hitting this guy. And then he grabbed my ass. And I'm like, hold on,
to know if he's ready to do something strange for a piece of change.
Then I somehow I slid away from him when we started talking to somebody else. I asked another German guy, I say, dude, is that like customer? He was like, no, man, that's gay. I was like, so dude is trying to hit on me.
He got teased all the way back.
Oh, man.
He's about to grease that ass up.
Yeah, everywhere I go and see, we went to Mexico, and some old big-breasted, big-butted certain person came up to me and was like, do you want to suck my cock?
He asked you, did you want to suck his dick?
I'm like, dude, if I was into that, I'd come from San Francisco. I didn't have to come down here to do that. And I'm looking at him like, you're, and he was like, yeah. I'm like, I come on.
The hell out of him. Yeah, you don't have to get your knees dirty in there.
And he wasn't, I was supposed to pay for that.
That's right. To suck his dick.
I felt it's something. You could at least offer me some money. I wasn't going to do it. But damn.
He would have wore your lips out.
And then he said it's nice. Like, I'm like, oh, man. I was
Is it good you didn't drink that beer he brought you, too?
Yeah, brought me an open beer. Brought me an open beer. I'm not drinking that shit.
I said, if you'd have drunk that shit,
who knows?
And my money would have been gone.
Because they was going to destroy your ass.
Money gone and everything.
They will tag team.
Yeah, they
High first and wear that ass to smithereens.
come bring me
Where
a
is
beer.
this going here?
Bring me a beer in Mexico with no top.
Don't drink the water.
With it, though, Ed.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, we I was sending music, man, just everywhere, man.
That's what you had to do. Dub tapes and mail, and you had to have to pay like $6 to mail something out there, which was expensive back then. But that's how you got music across.
People, the stories that I would get when people would write me from behind the iron curtain before the wall went down. I mean, wow, it was like, those of us up here that like metal, how it was, especially in the early days, it was like a religion. It's like that's what you were into.
Really was.
You didn't give a fuck who didn't like it. You loved that music. It was a religion. People that didn't get it, it was like a language, and you really didn't care if they didn't get it, Now, I could get it was girls that I would be with, and I could get them to like an Iron Maiden song because I could tell them. I said, okay, wait a minute, now listen to the bass. Hear the bass, listen to that, like Wrathchild or something like that. I say, okay, you hear that? Now see how the guitar starts, and you see how it follows. And I got women that if they listen,
right,
they would get it,
Especially if they came to see us live, they would always get it.
Yeah, they could get it, So it was just a different language.
We brought one of the boys from the hood. I guess he wasn't doing nothing that night to see Raven.
Oh,
Cozy. By the time Raven was Raven,
and he was one of them disbelievers.
Right.
Cozy was a rapper.
Right.
He was a rapper. So me and Anthony, he was hanging out with me and Ann said, well, man, we going to see Metallica, and Armored Saint, Metallica. This was Metallica got a record deal.
Metallica
Kill 'em all.
Okay, sure.
Kill 'em all.
Metallica kicked more ass that night than I ever seen. I seen Cliff Burton doing some shit on the bass I had never seen before because he was playing with John Gallagher.
Raven, man.
He was on tour with him.
Raven, you got it.
And I thought Raven wasn't going to be able to handle that.
Kill them all for one. Yeah.
I thought Raven wasn't going to be able to handle that.
Raven were awesome too. They still are. They're still
big,
amazing.
Like Raven was some of our heroes.
Man.
And when that show, Armored Saint played, they were great.
Great.
Yeah.
Then Metallica was even better. And Metallica was always good anyway.
Sure.
But they were even better. And I was like,
better.
oh, man. I was like,
So when Kirk just joined then, huh?
Yeah, I
Kill
was
'em all,
like, man, I don't know if my boys Raven going to be able to follow that. I don't know, man. Raven came out there, Hell Patrol and all that shit. And I was like, yeah, my boys came through.
Yeah.
John Gallagher did a solo, ran all through the audience while he was solo, and I was like, man, this shit is amazing.
And Cozy, we were telling him, look, man, I said, I'll pay your way. You want to come with us? We're going to see Metallica. He said, man, I don't know about all that shit, Mike. And I said, dude, just come, you'll dig it. He said, I don't know about that, man. I said, come. He came, this motherfucker, Raven, by the end of the show. I told your motherfucking ass.
That's awesome, man.
This good shit. So
that's cool.
Back to what I was saying, I just want to get back to your question about the record deal stuff. I was sending stuff out there, man, and it felt good, that people would write me and tell me, man, this music meant so much to them, man. It was like they were telling me about how some of their friends committed suicide because it was so repressed and how the music saved their life and got them through. And it was like, wow, that was humbling, dude.
Sure.
Because I was like, wow, they would say things about the music that I hadn't really thought about, when I was putting the songs together. I read, of course, that's what you heard? Yes, because I did intend that, that's what I'm thinking to myself, bullshitting. Yeah. People read shit into your music more than what you really intended. Yeah. It meant so much to them. But we would get offers, but... Man, it would be like fucking Little Richard days, man.
Yeah.
We do all the fucking work. It's already recorded, and then they want to get in on it and give us they want to take 85%. And it's like,
there were a lot of those sketchy deals, especially coming from Europe.
And I remember my mom snatched. I was looking at. I remember I called Anthony. I said, "Man, I got this one contract, man." And I think they made
that was the shame because, as you know, in Europe they lived for that shit. The Europeans and Eastern Europe, and they were so much more open minded. Yeah. Even like the guys in Soundbury were saying, it didn't matter that they were all black. They were getting more Kerrang and Aardschok from. I remember when Slayer first started because we used to send their advances out before Show No Mercy came out. Me and their old man, we would mail those out, and I'm telling them, dude, you guys are like huge all over Europe, and they're like, oh yeah, thanks, Bob. They didn't get it. They didn't believe it. Wow. And then when they went there, they're like telling me, holy shit, dude, you were right.
I can understand what you're saying, though, when you say that why they didn't get it, because now today we have the internet.
Sure.
But back then, we weren't connected like that. So I can understand why, because like when we started getting called, when the internet came, legends. They started called legends. And it was a metal guy from Earth Dog. What's it? Larry from Hellhound. No. What's Larry's band, Ant? Hellhunter.
Okay.
Larry, I think he was one of the first guys that told me, he said, yeah, man, they called you guys legends, legends. Wow. And I was like, wow, we got older, and this was 20 years ago.
Right.
He said, yeah, that's on the because I wasn't on the internet yet.
Sure.
And then I got on the internet, and that's why I started kind of like, adopted the name, but I wasn't the one to really.
Well, you were groundbreakers in the Bay Area. That's why Bay Area Godfathers. You were one of the godfathers of Bay Area metal scene. You had Yesterday and Today, obviously, and then you had, like you said, bands like Harvey that were less, metal. Yeah. But you guys, and even, Yesterday and Today, they were metal, but they were a little bit. Y&T were great, a little bit more radio oriented. Absolutely, yeah. And then you had, Ronnie Montrose and Sammy Hagar and all that stuff, the bigger stuff. But locally on the circuit, what was the early days like playing the clubs? Was it, what club? There was obviously the Stone, and you had.
Wasn't a lot of places. It was the Mabuhay,
Stone,
Ruthie's.
Right. So that was around Stone. Even in the late 70s, Ruthie's was doing stuff?
No, the late 70s, from what I remember, we didn't start doing Ruthie's until later, till the 80s.
Okay.
Early 80s, because Ruthie's it was known for blues
club.
R&B.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then what happened was, because Ruthie's was really a spot at one point for R&B and for everybody played Ruth. All the blues players, the R&B groups. But as time went on, they didn't really put money into it, and it was starting to become like falling apart.
It became kind of like a punk place, too, right?
Yeah. And so then you had all these other places, the Circle Star Theater, and you had all these new places that sprouted up where people could go. So they weren't going to Ruthie. And so Wes, he knew Ruthie and her husband. And he said, well, look, because it wasn't happening. Their business had fell off. Mm-hmm. And he said that, well, you should let me put some punk rock up in here.
Right.
And they were like, they didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. But then they finally relented, And when he did it, and they saw how punk rockers, and it wasn't metal yet.
Right.
But he saw how they drink.
Yeah.
Okay, that bar was feeling good. And the shows was packed.
Yeah.
And then he started bringing in metal. He started with punk, and then he started bringing in metal, and that's what pretty much brought Ruthie's a lot more years. The metal, and the metal and the punk rock, because Wes liked all that stuff, know. And when I met Wes, I talked to him on the phone. He's real articulate and proper. I thought he was a white dude,
right?
I see this old big black Zulu looking dude,
right.
And it was like because he was a basketball star in Alameda. I think his family was one of the first basketball, like from college.
No kidding. Wow.
His family was, I think he said they were like one of the first black families in Alameda. Because I didn't know Wes was as old as he was back then, because he was, 80? How old was he when he died? Maybe 84 or something?
Oh, was that? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was.
What year did he die? Because he was 80.
He died in 2000.
A few years ago.
6. When we did the Ruthie's
he was
reunion.
Born in 36, I think. Because I think he was 80.
80, yeah. He was 80. So Wes, he was the one, man. He gave everybody a place to play in those early days. Ruthie's Inn,
and a lot of bands from out of town, they let him crash out at his house, too.
Yeah. We used to hang out over there with Wes, especially when the Eastern Front live at Ruthie's Inn.
Right.
I'm going to tell you, I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but I helped get that record out. Because what happened was they recorded a bunch of us, like it was like he had like a week-long like festival.
I remember that.
And he was recording everybody.
Was that like originally like a bootleg, or was that actually intended to come out on a...
No, it wasn't a bootleg.
Okay.
I think, but what happened is, I think the first part of it was 2 albums, 2 LPs.
Right.
One LP was all the live stuff. And that, he recorded that live, and he didn't tell us. He didn't tell none of the bands. He didn't want anybody freezing up. So he just recorded it. And then the other record was like bands that had demos.
Demos, right.
Okay, and so when he put it together, and he said he was going to put it out, most of the bands didn't believe him because Wes had started kind of getting high, and they were like, "Yeah, right," you know. And so they didn't really believe it. But I was like on the phone with him like every week. I said, "So how's it going? How's it going?" And then I told Ron Quintana. And when I told Ron, he mentioned it because back then I think he was writing for Art Shock America.
Art Shock America, that's right. Yeah, I was writing for them too.
And he
that was a crazy.
Yeah,
thing.
he was talking about I told Ron, I said, Ron, this record is coming out. So Ron mentioned it in Metal Mania. He mentioned it on his show, and he mentioned it, I think, in Art Shock. But then it didn't come out for a whole year. You understand?
Right.
So it's like he put the word out.
Sure.
But now Wes is bullshitting. You know, Wes is, I'm calling him, and he's over there getting fucked up, smoking dope, and I come over there, I see shit on the stove, me and that come over there, crack cooking on the damn stove and shit. Like, that's why the fucking record ain't coming out, man. What the fuck, you know? So it took like over a year, man. Right. And I'm like, wait, of course, because we're on it, so I want to get this shit going. I'm like, oh, so man, what's happening? A whole fucking year goes by. But what that did was it primed the audience.
Right.
And so when that motherfucker came out, you know, compilation albums are not known to really sell a lot of records. But when it came out, because it
through
was
Combat, or was it what?
It was Restless Records.
Restless, okay. Restless Enigma,
and
yeah.
then Capitol Records was the distributor.
Okay, right.
Because they by then, because Metal, because I remember when I saw my boys at the record vault, Pam and Vern and all them going to jail, man.
Oh, really?
They was on the fucking news. They was heroes, man. Because what happened was the record vault was selling bootlegs, you know.
Oh, so that Tim was talking about that earlier on a Slayer album. They said thanks to the record vault bootleggers, and he goes, I never understood that, but that's what.
They were the record vault. I bought a bunch of bootlegs. I got, man, I still got
them.
Dude, a lot of those old record stores did that though. They had a back room where you could buy, and everyone loved the bootlegs because because of the live concerts, because you could get stuff that you couldn't normally get.
And I got fucking Loudness, bootleg. Because the record vault would take a cassette, make a copy, then they take a Polaroid picture, put it on the front, make a little
I remember
package, and I got Metallica's shit from there.
And people don't understand that because now everything is bootleg. I mean, YouTube. Back then, it was a federal. You would have the feds come in. We used to do record. There would be these record swap meets in Hollywood. I remember early 80s, I would see, before Brian Slagle had Metal Blade, he would be selling stuff. He'd be selling legit imports there, but there would always be and Wendy Dio was there selling all these old Rainbow stuff before. We're talking 81, 80, and then there would be these bootleggers, and sometimes they would get raided. The feds would come in, guns and everything, and raid the place over bootlegs. It was crazy.
And that's the thing. It was like, from what I saw, I felt like, I said, maybe Tower Records probably snitched on them, you know, because the record vault was like further up.
Sure.
Like because that's how me and Ant started to really. See, you got me going all over the place now because you getting me remembering shit. I remember when me and Anthony was at Guitar Center on Van Ness. It was at Van Ness and Olive Street at that point. Remember the first corner. Olive Corner.
His name is Young G.
Yeah, that was at the Cow Palace, man. When that guy we were saying, have you heard of Ingve? When Ingve was new,
his name is Young G.
He says, no, it was just pronounced Junji. I'm like, man, I heard Ron Quintana say the name, and he still rememers that shit.
That way, just go ying wing.
The guy was so sure. He was so sure about it. No, it's pronounced Junji. Junji, and I'm like, I ain't gonna argue with you. I know it's Ingve, motherfucker. But anyway, in the early day, we would cut class. We would cut school and just go hang out at the record.
Those guys up there were real nice.
They were.
Because I'd have thrown y'all little black asses out. Y'all motherfuckers ain't buying that. Man, get the hell. You've been in here 3 hours. Get out of here.
Yeah, they were real nice to us, man. They would let us play the instruments. And we just, it was our dream, man. And that's, we wanted to be, when you into that, you guys know, you just want to be around it, man. And we would go, just get the fuck out to school, fuck school. We go hang out when they open and be at that motherfucker till they close.
Yeah. I told y'all out. Yeah, y'all got to go. What y'all doing? Y'all ain't got no money? Get the hell out of here. You've been in here 3 hours. Leave.
Longer than that. So I remember I met these couple of these rockers, these two guys in there, and that's how it would go.
Right.
When you just start talking about music, you just start talking, hey man, you heard of Thin Lizzy? Yeah. You heard of Van Halen? Yeah. Scorpion. Right. What do you think about the Scorpion? And that gets the conversation going. And that's how because I bought all the music. And then I would turn Anthony on to it, and then Darren later on. I could strike up a conversation if I saw a guy like a Van Halen sticker on his Peachy at school.
Right.
And I see that.
The Peachies,
yeah. I said, oh, Van Halen, and conversation starts from there. So these guys, we were talking about music, and these guys, I'm talking about Priest and Maiden.
So we're our early 80s.
Yeah, and Motorhead, and the guy said, well, have you heard of Raven? Saxon? Yeah. I said, nah, man. And the guy, he had a tape recorder. Remember that? Those flat tape recorders.
Of course, yeah.
And Guitar Center was closing, so we were leaving, and we walking down the street with these guys, and he had a bootleg of Raven, and he put it on, and he said, like, check this shit out. And I remember the guy that said, well, yeah, man, we go to the record vault. And I said, yeah. And I said, where's that? He said, it's on Polk Street. And we remember seeing a store with a Motorhead poster in the window. Going. So me and Ant was on a mission, dude. It was a Saturday. I said, look here, Ant. Okay, this is what we're going to do. When we go down Polk Street, I'll look on the right, and you look on the left. And when you see it, we'll know it, So we going down, bingo. And this is before they moved, because at first they were a little further, like closer to Market, I guess.
Right.
And then they moved closer to North Beach when they moved across the street further down. So saw the Motorhead poster, and that's how we started being able to have access. Because before that was like just listening to new shit on Ron's, on KUSF.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then just going looking for stuff that you could get, maybe luck up on some shit at Towers that was in the...
That was heavy metal heaven.
Yes. Yeah, we go hang out at the Vault, man. It's just... That's when you could just hold the Venom album.
Sure.
And just look at them motherfuckers. This is the shit that we like. Yeah. And, I was into... before that, I already knew about the Scorpions, Maiden, Priest, Axe.
Oh, wow. Axe.
I would get my little pay. I used to work for a consulting firm downtown, right at Union Square. I fucking hated it, okay? Yeah. And I remember George.
You had a lot of jobs that you hated.
Yes. Then pay, hard work, low pay.
Yeah.
But
people sitting
the band,
talking shit.
The means to an end, you know what I mean? But I would be on the phone. I call Greg. What you got, man? What you got? He said, well, we got the new whatever, I said, well, I just pay him $5. He'd go across the street to Walgreens, get a cassette, record it for me. You know what I mean? And that was like my treat. That was my Miller time. I get off the bus, hit the what was that? What's Gary bus? What was that?
38.
38 Gary. Thanks, D. The 38 Gary, head out there to record vault, get the goods, man.
Nice.
And I still got that I've had to fix Merciful Fate from the record vault. Live Merciful Fate.
From Eindhoven, right?
Yes.
I love. I had that.
It's two
Artshock, Stefan Royer from Artshock sent me that. I used to listen to that. That was about the time the EP just came out. Yeah.
I still got
that was such a great.
Yeah, and it's like the one. Do you have the one where it's like it's a concert on each side?
Yes.
That's what I got. And
like
then when the tape
90 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
And I still got that, man. And when that motherfucker would get wrinkled up, you could hear it sometimes when it get caught up in the head.
Yeah.
Fuck!
You have to
Pull
fix it.
out.
Yeah. Cut it. I remember that. I did that many a time.
Oh, fuck!
Scotch tape.
I take some motherfucking scotch tape.
Yep.
Trim that shit down.
Kids today don't know what the fuck we're talking about, but that's what we did, man.
Dude,
you had to do
take
that.
the little screwdriver.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Now, if it was the ones without the screws, you're fucked. I don't know. Did you guys ever fix them?
Yep.
Oh, I hated them. Take it off with the little screws.
Yeah.
This was some serious shit.
And
like
then you had that
game.
little plastic gasket thing. You had to place that on thing.
Goddamn
If you did it without that, you'd have to fuck. You have to take it apart, put it back on. Cause it would always slide all over. You're like, fuck.
It was like that operation game.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull that bad boy up. This is Mission Impossible shit now.
Yeah.
Once them screws come out, you know what I'm saying? Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun. Pull that motherfucker up. Because you got to line it
You
up
have to
right.
be careful. Yep. You can't shake.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll fuck it all
Put that
up.
little tape on there.
Yeah.
I'll put that tape on that motherfucker. Flatten it out. Put it back up in there. Put that pencil. Twist that motherfucker. Put that.
It takes
screw
hours
back in.
to do just
I'm
like
telling
a 90-cent fucking cassette, but it was what was on it. That
That's
was
right.
like
I've patched that fucking tape over the years, man. I can't even tell you, man. It still plays though. Yeah, those was the days, man. But you know what? I said all that. D, what were you going to say that I cut you off? I'm sorry, man.
Cut him off about a half hour ago.
Come on, Darren. Well, we should probably wind this down. How we're we're getting. All right,
Well, and we just getting started.
But you know what?
we could talk forever, man.
Remember that person that came, because we never got a dime off that Eastern Front shit. We wasn't even worried about it.
I heard Wes was notorious about that.
Yeah,
somebody came at us and said, "Man, did you know you guys was on U.S. Free Metal Invasion?" And they showed us. Remember they showed us the album.
Wow.
Turned over the album, said Stone Vengeance Malice, and they took the recording right off the Eastern Front thing and just bootlegged it on their shit.
No, they didn't do that.
It's probably licensed.
Well, all I'm saying is we didn't get no money for it. We didn't get shit. I was like, no, I didn't know nothing about that.
And I'll be at home, man, with my I'll be
about
on my security job. Maybe you be working security and shit. I'm walking around with a calculator counting up. Yeah, this is how much money I'm gonna get. Okay, if it sells this many, I'm gonna get because probably get 2%.
Right.
Okay, so I'm calculating all that shit. Yeah, I'm gonna buy me a Marshall. I'm gonna buy this, and that kept
That
me
sold
up
pretty
all
well.
night.
I remember those.
Man,
albums,
when it came out, because it was primed, the audience was primed. The first 50,000 sold out.
Right.
In the LA area. We couldn't even get it up here. Remember that? Only thing we could get was the cassette.
Yeah.
And the first 50,000 sold out right off, just in the LA area. So it was pretty successful for a compilation double album.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember on the contract, when I signed it, it gave him the
small print
right
says
to
your ass ain't
license
getting
it
shit.
to whoever. So
Yeah.
it came out on Speed, Core Invasion, and it was another European. I don't remember the name.
Well, Enigma did a lot of licensings out in Europe because they didn't have a European branch at the time.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the that. I told you about the one contract. They want like 85% and it's like I called Anthony. I said, "Yeah, man, I think they probably made a mistake."
No mistake.
Anthony said, "Them motherfuckers
Well,
didn't make
so
no
many of those
mistake."
bands, they just wanted to get vinyl out. I mean, to have a record out back then was a huge thing back in the early 80s. And just to have a record, some bands, they didn't go, fuck yeah, we'll sign it, we don't care.
Yeah, I remember Anthony saying, "Man, them motherfuckers know exactly what they talking about. They ain't make no fucking mistake." Yeah. And man, I don't know, I was up all night, man, because I was like, the pickings is slim, and I don't know. I was looking at the contract, and I remember my mom was behind me. She came up, reached over my shoulder, and pulled it, just tore it up. She wasn't gonna let me sign that. She said, "Nah, you guys already put all this money together and put this out." And then it would be times where
then we got Gafford out the money.
Remember
we sent that broad to she's supposed to. We sent her the money to press up our shit, and the bitch just didn't do it
because we wouldn't sign a contract with them.
Well,
I'm talking about the one. I'm talking about.
I don't know if I want to mention their name, man.
No, man, I'm talking about the.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
But she should have just pressed us. We paid her. You paid her to press it up.
Okay.
Then you sent her like $500.
It was more than that, man.
You know how much money that was back then?
Big money. Remember, we had worked security for a whole month.
Man, I was making $110 a week back then or something like that.
So, I don't know. Should I mention the name? Remember in L.A., Erica Records?
I don't think so.
I think it was Lilac.
No, Lilac is the ones that did right by us.
Oh, okay.
I got some Lilac cassettes for these guys. Lilac did it right. Erica Records was the Ghetto Boys did one of their early records off of them. It was called Erica Records. It was
There are a lot of shady record companies out of L.A.
Down in LA. And what
I
happened
remember
was
one label dude talking about having a joint bank account with their ass. I'm like, what the hell?
So anyway, this is for that.
Joint bank account.
Hey, look, it's the truth. I ain't lying.
Right.
Listen, okay, I'm just looking for a place to press up, some 1,200 cassettes.
Yeah.
Because by then, I figure like any record companies, okay, let me put the shit out on our own. So I saw them, I said, well, the Ghetto Boys put their shit out on there, back in the day. I said, let me try them out, So, I sent them, the master and, everything else they needed. And I think the only thing we got out of that was maybe 22 copies that were that we had to proof, you know what I mean? And they were
This is vinyl?
No. These were
cassettes.
They sent 5 vinyl.
Okay.
I had no idea them was going to be collectors out. I got one still.
Right.
I gave one to Ron, and I sent other ones out to people. And those things have recirculated and resold and resold and resold, all over the place, So I was smart enough to keep one, test pressing. Okay. So they sent us 5 of those, but the rest was cassettes. We sent the money and everything. All they're supposed to do is press our shit.
Right.
Okay, next thing I know, they're stalling. I'm like, they're telling me it's going to be ready, and they're stalling.
Now, why did they just do cassettes back then? Was this because usually they do vinyl? Was this CDs out by this time or
no?
Okay,
No. It was
this is early on.
To me, because most of the stuff I had a lot of vinyl, and then when I got into harder and harder metal, I fucked around and sold a lot of my fucking vinyl.
Dude, I did the same thing.
You did, man.
And I had all those imports that are now they go for $500-600 each,
shit.
dude. And this is before eBay. I had to sound the early night, dude. I had all the. I was living in L.A. My mom in Huntington Beach. I had all my records in the closet. And she's like, "Get rid of this shit. I'm gonna." So I was like, "All right, I gotta sell it." And back then I had CDs and stuff, so it was like I never listened. I just stored it. It was a storage, And I'm thinking, this ain't never. This not. There's no value in this. It's
See?
And dude, I had some rarities.
Me too, man. I went. Me and Anthony. My mom told me, "You're not gonna get that much money."
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, "Yeah, right." I didn't say that to her. But I'm thinking like, yeah, right. I know what these Beatles albums is worth and some of this, all this old school. I know it because I kept my shit in good condition.
Yeah, that's important.
Man, we went to hella fucking record stores, man, and they just offering hardly nothing for all these nice mint records.
Yeah.
And my mom was right, and so I ended up, man, I guess you get a little more for trade.
Yeah.
So I
But
got
now they would be worth a lot. But
and
back,
then, And then I basically just hardly got nothing from this one store, and then I took that and bought me some stuff at the record vault. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I kicked myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, she wanted to talk about doing a record deal, and I'm like, I just want my shit. Send me my shit. Oh man, and so she just was stalled on me, man. It's like
She didn't say nothing.
So I didn't want to do a deal, and so what happened was she got this guy named David
Richards? Dave Richards? No, he had Azra Records. That was his.
That's what it. That's it.
Azra Records.
Azra Records.
That Dave Richards. Yeah.
She had. He contacted me.
He did like the early Dark Angel.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Azra Records.
Hawaii. Marty Friedman's
Yes.
old band.
Yes.
Yes.
And what happened was
Vixen.
he
That was,
contacted me, and I'm like, okay, see, how did he get my number?
Right.
So what it was is she and him, I guess she told him, well, look, they're not going to go play ball with me. And he sent the contract. And that was the contract that was like 85. I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah.
I would have went for
Sounds like
50-50.
Right.
I would have went for that because I know, okay, you guys pressing the records and all.
Sure.
I would have went for that.
But you paid for the recording and everything still. A lot of these labels, there is a label called Metalworks. Metal Blood, the first Metal Massacre went through that actually, and a band I was really close with, August Red Moon. They went through that.
I remember they were on one of those metal.
They were on a Metal Massacre too,
Yeah.
And they had that album with the fist with like
August
82 with the they were like
August Red Moon.
Exactly. They had on Metalworks, and they supposedly sold 10,000. They never got a dime, and they paid for their own recording too.
See,
it's the same thing,
man.
Yeah,
and it was like, man, 85%. I just can't do it, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I said,
no,
man,
you were
like
smart, man. You were
Little Richard type shit.
Yeah,
I'm like, nah,
back then
man.
there were a lot of those little scam labels. Most of those bands, they started independent, and they moved it, like Slayer with Metal Blade, Metallica with Megaforce, and you get to build the name, and then a major comes along, and because back then the majors were not signing metal.
No. I remember when Metallica, I was asking Laura, we were playing at the Stone, where it was us, Trouble.
Oh yeah,
Slayer.
Chicago, yeah.
No, it wasn't Live Rocket. It was a band called Scanners.
I remember that tour. I was going to do their show in Orange County. It was going to be Slayer, Trouble, and Abattoir. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember them because they were going to open and played with Megadeth.
Yeah. They came up here. A couple of Juan Garcia, who's in Body Count now. That was a killer show.
That was one of the heaviest.
They were a great
bands.
Sabbathy,
that Black Sabbath, dude. That
Eric Wagner,
it was
great singer.
They were so heavy.
Yeah,
it was hypnotic because you know how much control it takes to play that slow. People think, oh, it's easy. No, because you have to have so much control, and you know what I'm saying,
doom
man.
metal,
Doom
man.
man.
They were the original. They were like there were so many bands that copied the Sabbath thing, but they were the best.
Yes, they were. And we were sharing the dressing room with them, and they said, "Wow," and I was glad because the crowd loved them.
Right.
And at first, the crowd, you could tell they weren't. A lot of people didn't really know because they were there to see Slayer. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't really know what to expect, and they really wasn't really all that excited, but they won that crowd over.
Oh yeah,
And I remember he said, the singer, Eric said, yeah, man, this is cool because a lot of the places that we played on the tour, the people really wasn't digging them.
Yeah,
he said he just wanted to see
Slayer fans are yeah.
But that crowd, man, they loved them, and it was just. I don't think I've seen some heavy stuff, but I don't know if I saw a live band as heavy as that, as far as a band playing in a club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never forgot that. That was real heavy. And Lars was drunk. Because Lars came in the dressing room.
Right.
And we were in the dressing room, and Lars came in with a tall can of Slits Malt liquor beer. I said, so how it feel, Lars? How's it feel to be on a... Because that's when Elektra had bought their...
Ride the Lightning.
Megaforce.
Right.
And they had, they were, because they were on Megaforce.
Sure.
Then Ride the Lightning was on Megaforce.
And then Elektra reissued it.
Yeah. And I remember I asked Lars about it, and he was like, he was drunk, man. And we were grabbing each other's face. He was like, oh, man. And and I remember it was a little sobering when Slayer was playing. He was drunk, but it was like we were standing and we were like on the side of the stage, right? And Slayer was on the stage, and we watching him. And Dave Lombardo was kicking ass on them fucking drums, dude. And I remember I was standing there, I looked over at Lars, and Lars was like looking serious as fuck. He didn't seem so drunk. And I was like thinking, yeah, you seeing what you seeing, buddy. But not taking nothing away from Lars, because people, I don't know, I've heard some people talking shit about Lars drummer.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know how many people was copying Lars?
Yeah.
Damn near everybody.
Remember, did y'all see when Queensrÿche did that interview when they was talking about Lars is a serial pisser? Talking about he used to always get on their tour bus drunk.
About that. Yeah. Because they toured together. Yeah.
Not on the toilet. just piss on their bus. They say he was a serial pisser.
Hey, speaking of Chicago bands, you remember a band called Snow White, all black band?
yeah.
They were a three-piece.
Oh,
Okay, because I say they were really cool. I used to be pen pals with them
That's a
too.
good band.
They were, they were great back then.
Yeah.
We did.
I'm still Greg is still on. We're friends on
he's on
Facebook.
Oh, yeah, okay,
His name
cool.
is Greg Fulltone.
Yeah, full tone.
Full tone.
Dude, I have to look them up.
Yeah, he plays
yeah,
more
yeah.
like blues now.
Okay, cool, right?
Blues
Yeah, they
and
were a
funk.
cool band.
Sweet Diesel Jenkins. That's
Yeah, that's his name.
Because there were
Sweet
very
Diesel
few
Jenkins.
all black metal bands, and
Yeah.
they were one of the few. And of course,
thing
Sound
is-
Barrier.
The thing is, it's like, of course,
And that band called Death. That
Yeah, before that, I didn't even know of them until I saw that
That
documentary.
documentary was
Yeah,
off the hook.
that
Yeah,
was
it
a
was.
really good
It
one.
was.
Yeah, great documentary.
and then Black Death.
Yeah.
Remember that the Black Death from
that's it.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a different. Yeah, you're right. That
Yeah,
was a
Black
different band.
Death.
Yeah. That's a whole different band than Death. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
So we would get, and the thing is, like, when we would get offers sometimes, not even offers necessarily, not even get to that point. It would be like I would get a letter from a record company, say like overseas, Germany or something like that, and they would have heard our music. But they didn't know we were a black band. They would say, well, we heard your music and we were interested. Could you send a bio and a photograph? So when I would send that, they freeze on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would happen enough. And then one company was honest enough to say, well, you guys don't have the look. And I'm like thinking, what the fuck
And this
the
is in
look?
Europe. They were saying this because
From
usually Europeans
overseas.
were very more open minded. Yeah.
But that's what it would be things like
Well,
that. So it
there
got
was
to
a
the
lot of
point.
that.
Yeah, it got to the point that I just got tired of spending money sending bios and all that. So I just when a record company would contact me, I just send them a picture.
Right.
I'm saying, let me just Xerox a picture, so let you see what you're dealing with, and then I don't have to worry about not getting my shit back when
Sure.
you're not interested.
Yeah.
So it was. So that was a factor. And then I remember this guy Jeff Risden. He knew a lady when they were talking about Treasure Island was North Hollywood. They started doing more production up here for movies, and this lady wanted a rock band for a bar scene.
Yeah.
And by then, I'm pretty jaded on all that shit.
Right.
I say, Jeff said, Mike, they want a band, man, a rock band. I say, look, man, did you know we a black band? Did you tell her that? And he's like, nah, man, but I don't think that's gonna matter. It's gonna matter. So anyway, I say, oh look, okay, he's trying to help me out. So of course, I called the lady. I say, so what's going on? She said, yeah, and we need a band. And I was talking to Jeff, and he said, can you guys come over and we can audition you? I said, see, first of all, I ain't hauling all my shit over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
I say, look, we're a black rock band. I say, so you looking for something like that? And she said, oh well, let me call you back. And then she called me back and she said, well, I talked to the director or somebody, and she said, a black band would be making a different kind of a statement. You see? So then that's when I just had to realize that.
I think she called you back and explained it.
Yeah.
Usually they wouldn't even call you back.
She
Leave it
said they would be
hanging.
making. So I always knew that race was a factor. You know what I'm saying? They don't want change. They don't want a backlash or whatever.
Yeah.
Because even the record companies, it's like, or the business of it. When I talk to young people, some young people would ask me things, and I would say, have you ever read Plato's Republic? So that book was written 2,300 years ago. And I said, governments fashion a lot of their policies and ways based on that.
Yeah.
And I said, so in that book, it talks about how athletes, musicians, and operas or theater actors, modern time, have to be controlled. See? Because it said if a new mode of music, today we call it genre,
Right.
if a new mode of music is introduced and not licensed or controlled, it gets into the youth, and then it gets into government and changes the laws.
All right.
heard about
All right.
that, yeah.
Hold on for a second, Mike. I have to interject something. But before you continue on this route, my name is Anthony Starks, and I'm not necessarily agreeing with this nigga because when the CRKA come to kill this motherfucker, you can leave me alone. I'm not on no political shit.
I didn't say that. Bob said that.
Hey, I'm just a moderator. I don't know
That's
what's
Mike
going on.
saying. That's Mike Coffey. His address is.
I'm talking about the fucking Plato's Republic.
Okay.
He's going deep
just
here,
as
man.
a
We're
disclaimer,
going,
I am not down with none of that shit.
How do we get
That's
into
your
this
disclaimer.
conversation?
I don't know nothing about that. CIA,
Oh, but see,
please
you don't
don't
remember
come
how I helped him in school.
CIA, please don't come murder me off what this motherfucker's talking about.
Matt's already on the phone calling the CIA.
I don't know what he's talking about. There's no such thing as racism in America. There's no such thing as police brutality.
Let me ask you something. Because everything kind of changed, it became a little bit more open in the 90s. And then, well, I don't know, when Living Color came out in, 89, when The Vivid came out.
And it was 80-something, right?
88, yeah. And did that? Yeah, it was 88 because I remember, seeing them at the Whiskey that tour. Everyone was saying, "Oh, wow, the first all black rock band." Okay. And that just annoyed me. It's like, no, they're not. You know, I mean, there were so many other, but by then it became almost like this novelty. I mean, and no, I mean, it's a great band, great album, obviously, great musicians. But MTV like took to them, and again, this was after MTV didn't play any black music in the '80s, and then now they took it as like this novelty. Oh, look at this, the first all black rock, hard rock, heavy metal band. Yeah, and I'm not going, no, this was going,
And that's the thing. And so, listen, man, somebody asked me about the Black Rock Coalition. Even when we played in Florida with Ice-T and what was that? Was it Testament, Ice-T, MOD? It was a big festival.
Wow, in Florida.
It was called Sun and Steel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
2004.
And even
2004.
Wow. And Ice-T kind of was saying the same thing about the Black Rock Coalition, it's like.
And I came up to the front of the stage while she was dancing, and I'm sorry to say, but her butt was completely flat. So where she got all that ass,
Oh,
Why the hell that get into conversation?
I wonder where all that come from.
Okay.
I need to give me some
She had
money.
the tits. I remember the tits because Ice-T pulled the tits out.
Well, he paid enough for them, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, man.
But hey, I guess you can have them built from the ground up.
And Ice-T, if you're coming after us, it's not me that's all Anthony.
That's my disclaimer, Ice-T, that's Anthony Starks, the bass player of Stone, when they're talking about your bitch.
Gal, excuse me, your woman.
Yeah, your wife.
Your wife.
Thank you.
So,
hey, but you paid
I'm
good
looking out
money
for
and
you,
she
Mike.
looks good.
So, thank you. So, what are we talking about?
now, was that a cult? Because I don't know if you remember Willie Bass from Black Sheep. He was another LA guy. He passed away not too long ago. But he was a big 80s metal guy. I thought wasn't he involved with that or did some of that?
I don't know. I know that it had Vernon Reed, guitar player from Living Color.
Right.
And I talked to one of the other co-founders, Greg Tate. He directed for the Village Voice. And I remember I saw an article about them in the newspaper, and it was talking about the Black Rock Coalition. I was like thinking, this is by the 90s by then. And I'm like, pretty much, okay, well, damn, let me see if this will work.
Right.
So, I mean, the Black Rock Coalition, I mean, hey, we veterans in this shit.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, so I contact them, and I'm trying to join the Black Rock Coalition.
They don't want us.
These motherfuckers gonna send me some shit. No, okay. First of all, the first time, it was in the 80s.
Right.
Late 80s. I sent Greg Tate a cassette of us. There's a Black Rock Coalition, because this is when they first started.
Okay.
They were first starting. So I said, okay, let me see what they can do. So I sent him a tape, and then I called him. I said, so did you get the tape? And so what did you think? And he said, there's some apocalyptic shit you guys singing about.
It was, too.
And I didn't think so. It's metal.
Right.
I mean, what the fuck you gonna think? This real metal is this kind of shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Iron Maiden. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Artists in the room
motherfucker, Black Rock Coalition. I'm not. Oh, I'm on the mic. Damn, I'm tripping.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he said, "There's some apocalyptic shit you guys got going on here." I said, "Okay, and so what can you do for us? What can you do?" He said, "Well, we can do pretty much." He said, "Well, I can give you all the contacts of everybody that already told us no." He's like, I can point to you all the people that told us no. Okay, that ended that. Then in the 90s, I saw this, by now they've had some years under their belt. I said, okay, maybe they got their shit together. So I contacted them, sent them, some information. They had some kind of shit. You send them and you try to join. These motherfuckers talking about, okay, so in order to join, first of all, you have to be approved by a board.
Really?
And yes, some board,
Board.
and you have to send $50. You have to send $50 in and be approved by the board.
But what do they do for you in return? Do they put you on concerts, or do they book, or do they act as like a management?
Listen, man, they call the Black Rock Coalition. I'm thinking, okay, you got a couple of famous people in there. I'm thinking, okay, I don't know. Listen, I looked at some of the acts that they had. Every act that they had white people in the acts.
Okay. Yeah.
So I know we should be cool to get in because the only all black group they had was Living Color.
Right.
So the rest of the groups that I saw, they were mixed. And we've been around before Living Color and all of the whole organizations.
Sure.
Like we can't get no old senior citizen respect, motherfucker. So we got to be approved by a board, and I gotta send $50. Basically,
Man,
you're telling me no.
Yeah.
You're telling me no.
But you
because
consider that
what
50 though.
motherfucker gonna send $50?
Well, he wants
without a guarantee.
He wants your $50 before he could tell you no.
Yeah, thank you.
Probably.
Thank you. So I'm like, I was pretty much through with it at that point because it was like my friend, one of our close friends, Andre. He says to him the Black Rock Coalition was like the NAACP. He says like it's just like a front. It's like it's really no teeth.
Right.
You know, it's like really something that's used to kind of filter out the good groups.
Right.
The real groups. I won't.
Well, they
say
do it
just
for their
group.
own benefit, just for their own bragging rights. Oh, we're
Because hey man, I ain't gonna talk about nobody. I ain't gonna talk about no groups because I'm always on the verge of that. But I won't go there. You know, I ain't gonna go there. But it was disheartening, man. You know, I'm like, damn, we can't even get in. We black and can't even get accepted.
But you made the point. You were there long before they were around. You were before a lot of Living Color and all these other bands. You were the groundbreakers, and back then was really taking a chance. I mean, that was something that was really balls on. They talk about other bands that have since whatever, Rage Against the Machine, whoever. It's like that's great and fine, but that was already in the 90s with stuff. You guys were doing it in the late 70s, man. I mean, this was like there was a big difference being
we were underground, and
absolutely,
we pretty much stayed underground. Strong Benches has been underground, man. It's like.
That's got to feel good, though, in a way that you've kept it true.
Yeah.
You've done your thing, and you've earned a lot of respect for that. I mean, Europe, all over the world, man. I mean, that's right. Yeah. And now the world's going to know about you.
It does, because it was a lot of.
Some money would be nice too, though.
But you know what? Honestly, man, I don't envy a lot of people that's really famous. To me, being real famous, you're not really living, man. How the hell are you going to have millions of dollars and you got all the pressure of all these people at you now? Everybody's depending on you. You can't quit. And then a lot of bands that became famous, they're not really real. They have a backstory created.
Yeah.
They are put together. They don't really even know each other, but it's so much money been put behind them of publicity. That takes a lot of money to push those bands, so they can't quit. That's why they can't quit. They hate each other, but it's so much money involved. And the thing is, that's why
it's
most people don't say anything because back to like Plato's Republic, it's now entertainment is more controlled than ever.
Oh yeah,
ever.
Oh, yeah.
And people wonder why all these athletes got all this money and they don't say anything, and it's the same thing because they know that when you're controlled, they don't want you. You're too famous. You're like a John Lennon. Okay, like John Lennon, somebody like John Lennon. They considered him. I remember I was looking at Joan Rivers' show, and she had this guy that wrote this book about famous people and that the government was after. And it was mentioning Martin Luther King, Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, and Joan Rivers said, John Lennon? And he said, yeah, because he was considered a loose cannon.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't control. He's liable to say anything.
Yeah.
And when you're
because he had such a following, he was so huge, and the teenagers, and he was a threat to society.
President.
Well, a lot of actors that were communists, they said they were communists just because that was a huge deal back then.
Yes, because they have, and you see, we're looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
Just like Plato's Republic.
They're a threat.
The government
threat to society
is behind. The government wants them controlled because these people could lead a revolution. Somebody like John Lennon, who was known to be seen, people would see him No fan killed their idol. I wasn't buying that shit when we heard it. If you love somebody, how the fuck you gonna kill them?
Yeah.
But it makes sense because remember, he was about to lead it was some big protest coming up that he was, and then that new album came out, Double Fantasy, and he was about to do some protest. And apparently they did not want that because he's too big. Like I say, he has too much of a following. He's really, you could say, grassroots.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, a lot of influence.
Yeah,
for sure.
too much influence.
Well, he was also, like collaborating with the Black Panthers and stuff. So they didn't like that either.
Yeah. And so that kind of a person is a threat, and it's the same with now. And like safe bands,
Yeah.
I mean, apocalyptic shit. I'm like thinking, God damn, you scared
Now
of
more than ever, I think it's like that. Now, you can't say anything or anything that's not PC. They'll just take it the wrong way. Oh,
Yeah,
this is,
you really can't.
Musicians, comedians, actors. It's like, man, no one can give opinions anymore.
And
about
that's the
it.
thing. Like with us, we know being a black band, I knew from the jump, it was like, okay, we're like a square peg. I'm not going to force myself into a round hole. I knew we were different. I knew about racism. But then there's other factors too. It was like, because even in the 70s, if you remember, even good white bands, they couldn't even get signed because they were looking for kind of this
the new wave
androgynous look.
Yeah.
Remember, see, certain guy bands, they were just rockers.
Yeah.
They couldn't even get signed. They wanted you to look like
it was
feminine.
Image.
It was an image.
Yeah.
So a lot of good white bands couldn't even get signed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you have these, I was telling Danny maybe, but somebody I was talking about, that's what's, it's like counterintelligence. Remember when we were talking about, a minute ago I was saying about Plato's Republic and how they can't allow an unlicensed new genre of music. So when we're looking at metal, I was telling these young people that. And I was saying, I said, metal, when we started doing this was new. Right. It was not something, it was not trendy.
Right.
It was like your blood and heart was into this shit. You believed it. It was your language. You knew how to speak. Other people may not get it, but some people did, and you talked to them.
Yeah.
But when that music, it is a movement.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a movement, and movements are dangerous. And so I say what happens is the powers that be, they will launch their own heroes, and they'll finance them well.
Yeah.
And then they're telling us what mellow is.
Yeah.
That's what, and so that's why we've been able to stick to what we do, because I never was going for that, because I remember it wasn't no MTV when we started.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden MTV is all of a sudden now they're playing metal, but a lot of that wasn't, as far as we were
concerned. A lot of it was
concerned,
manufactured. It was almost like the boy bands when all that shit came out. And that dude, there was a documentary on that guy, the dude from NSYNC did. I didn't realize the guy was so fucked up. He did these Ponzi scams Perlman.
Wow.
But it was just he manufactured. He just got these kids and just manufactured. And that's how the music industry. That's how the pop music is now. It's all manufactured. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Milli Vanilli and all that.
Yes.
I mean, you remember back then how big a deal it is? Now everyone's doing the lip syncing live too, and now it's just like, oh well, that's the norm. Even Paul Stanley's doing it on stage.
And the thing is,
half of them can't even sing.
And most of the people don't understand how dangerous that is. That's when you have the government looking at any movement, and they will either get in front of that movement by, like, what was it? Edward Bernays. He was known. Edward Bernays. Some people call him the father of public. What do they call it? Not propaganda, I don't think. But Bernays was. He even worked for governments,
Right.
And he said, well, don't change the product for the people, change the people for the product.
Interesting, yeah.
And so he said, so when you want to take over an organization, get at the leaders.
Right.
and then start financing them. And that's the thing that every movement needs.
Yeah.
Finance. And that's how the bands, that's how you can get them to sell out. That's how you can get them to go off course.
Well, you need someone behind you at a label because there's so many times where, you know, the A&R guy or someone leaves and there's no one behind you that could finance it. That's I mean, interesting what you were talking about because I know the guys in Soundberry while I was interviewing Bernie Kay, and they were the first all-black band to sign with a major label, MCA, in 82 or 83. I think they got signed and they put their record out. A&R guy left. And so they're like, you know, so they're in this marketing meeting. And again, it's all about the image. You're like, well, how are we going to market this band? And, you know, Bernie's like, dude, we're a rock band. We're a rock band. You know, it's like trying to, and they're like, oh, well, we should market that. It's like, no, we're a rock. How do you market any other rock band? Why should we be any different? They were all concerned with the image or whatever, but that's how companies think, you know,
and that's the thing. So it's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's a lot about control, and now you see the music now, a lot of it is like, it's so dumbed down. And that's on purpose because
America's dumbed down.
It's on purpose because they want the music, if it's sophisticated, it causes you to think. Because remember, they took music out of, there you go. They took a lot of the music out of the schools, but they said music helped with mathematics.
That's right.
Right.
Help you
mathematics.
Absolutely. And playing music, you have to be disciplined.
Absolutely.
You know.
That's why no one's playing instruments anymore.
Keep you out of trouble.
Yeah.
So not.
Keep you out of trouble because you're practicing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
now you just get on the laptop and
keep the people dumb, man.
Yeah.
You know,
You're
because
absolutely
they
right.
see what music did. They saw what it did in the '60s.
Oh yeah.
You know, and now that's why now
it's a great point, man.
It's just it's controlled, and I wanted to stay away from that. You know, because like you said, it's time. We had a lot of disappointment, a lot of frustration, a lot of sad times, man. But as you know, time went on, and now that we're older,
you're still together, man. You're still playing.
And
after 40 years, almost.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Man,
that's crazy.
It seemed like just 10 years ago, man.
Dude, that takes discipline, and that just takes integrity, and just the way you persevere and the passion for doing it. I mean, seriously, for a band. I mean, you could say bands that have made it, went huge, back in the 80s or 90s, and now they're doing a comeback. And hey, fuck that. They already made. I mean, the fact that you're doing it, you guys never had that break where you had the big break of getting a major deal, touring the world, but you're still doing it, and you've never broke up. It's not like, oh, we're doing this reunion to do it. Fuck, dude. I swear to God, man, you guys, total inspiration, and more musicians, especially young musicians, should look up to you and go, man, this is, 40 years doing it, still waiting for that opportunity to be, and it's awesome, dude. I mean, you just never gave up, really. I mean that passionately. That's just unbelievable.
Oh, I appreciate you, man. We were serious. We were serious about it. We believed in the music, believed in it, man. Really, I knew when I heard it, in those early days, like buying first Iron Maiden record, I knew. I didn't need anybody to tell me. I said, no, this music, I felt like anybody could dig it, because you know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Even though anybody can't dig it.
But it's funny. I don't know about with you, but we were like, we don't want anyone else to dig it. We want to keep this our own music. We don't want them to be popular, because once they get popular, they're sold out. That was kind of our thing. And, when Metallica and all these bands, no one thought they were going to be the biggest band in the world. We'll keep it underground. Let's keep it like Motorhead. And, it's sad to say, we don't want these guys to get big. We don't want you to be famous. But that was
what happened.
Yeah.
I understand.
And it was kind of like our band.
It's going to get spoiled. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's how it was. You listen, getting into this music, I remember just in those early days, and whatever I got into, then I turned Anthony on. And Anthony was my little brother, so it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, when Darren joined, not having a drum set, but had the skill, and then I listened to him.
Right.
And he had that pocket. That was enough. So now we got to put this motherfucker through the goddamn ringer. So,
were you playing like funk and R&B before, or what kind of music were you?
Everything.
Yeah.
So when we got him in the band, we had to kind of like introduce him to our music, to our originals, like Times at Hand, Malice, the real fast stuff. And the thing about good old Darren, you know, I mean, just the trooper, man, because we knew we wasn't gonna try to kill his ass, so we would play a song, right?
But Derek can hang with it because he was an athlete in the first place.
But he be sweating, man. After we play the song, he do it.
It's a good workout.
And I say, "Oh, you cool? You cool? Yeah, I'm cool. But I'm like, I ain't gonna kill this motherfucker. Because Darren will say he's cool and he ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? He's having a fucking stroke and now his mama trying to kill me. So it took weeks. So we would do one song, right? Then wait 5 minutes, give him a rest. Then we do another one, wait 5 minutes. To build up, because I knew that endurance had to be built up because this was a new music.
Sure.
Because
people don't realize that, especially with a drummer, man. That's a really
yes,
you know,
and you can't bullshit.
But you know what? I need to say two things. Well, first of all, we got to get ready to wrap it up. Yeah. And Mike could talk about this all night. And I mean that. If we don't cut him off, Mike will go all night, and we'll be sitting there.
I'm thinking about doing a half hour, 45 minutes. Maybe.
When I lived at my grandmother's house, he lived right across the street. I used to like, all right, Mike, it's time to go.
Oh, Ant was he was old fucked up motherfucker, man.
I tell him it's time to go
all night if you want.
I told him
his big brother.
No, let me tell you something. I tell him it's time to go at like 7 or 8, and he keep talking. I'm like. And, you know, I wasn't a night person back there. I was young anyway. So, seriously, next thing I know, my grandfather was waking both of us up. Saying, Anthony, tell your boy to go home, okay?
But no, I'm talking about how
then I wake him up,
do me.
and then he still talked 15 minutes. No, but the second thing I want to say is, Darren, now, we down there sometime I have to tell him to slow down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, but it ain't no thing. But see, what I love about the whole thing is like he talking about you can't bullshit your way through it. I'd have rolled on Darren back a lot of nights because I be having an off night where I done drank too much the night before, and I just keep playing the rhythm, and I hear him, he beating the shit out the drum. All I got to do is make sure my little lick part come up. I hit that, and everybody, oh, you were great. I wasn't shit. Y'all just don't know it.
This motherfucker, I used to be at his house, man, sitting up chilling with him and shit. He's supposed to be his big brother that he loves, so he's supposed to love me. Then after he eats, that's it.
Oh, hell no.
Turn into a bitch. So he's sitting there, he said, I'm sitting there thinking I'm having a meaningful conversation with this guy. You know, I'm like, yeah, Aunt, you know, and so when we do this with the music and we do this and that, and he's just looking at me. Then he starts scratching his nuts with his fucking tore up drawers on. This motherfucker has some drawers on, D. I'm not bullshit.
Hey, that's when they get comfortable.
This motherfucker.
Where are we going with this?
Drawers on that. You know how Tarzan shit look on? I'm not. I'm not lying. Am I lying? I couldn't believe.
That's when they got comfortable.
Motherfucker got brand new drawers in the drawer. Nah, these drawers is comfortable. Them drawers was hanging on by the Fruit of the Loom. You know the band. Yeah. The Fruit of the Loom band. It was perfect. Fruit of the Loom band. And then it's about this much material holding the motherfuckers on, and the shit hanging all the way down in, nuts hanging all out. And this motherfucker sitting up there looking at me. I'm thinking he's with me. Like, and this motherfucker just looking at me, and he just scratching his nuts looking at me. And I'm talking all this meaningful shit, and he's looking at me. He said, man, don't you think it's time you get the fuck up out of here? And then he do that fucking grin.
Well, don't do
but
it here,
he mean it. He means it. Like, man, it's about time you get the fuck up out of here, man.
That's hilarious.
So, and that happened early after he eat. He don't give a fuck.
It's time to go.
All right, gentlemen, I think it's time to go.
Okay, we got to do a part 2 on this.
We should, man. We could go all night, man.
Bunch of shit we didn't.
Hey, if we get this motherfucker on tubes and his amps and shit, I'm leaving.
Oh yeah, they know that.
I might just get up and go out that window.
And I'm thinking, do I have enough that we could talk about that we could do? You know, and here it is, 2 hours later. Yeah, this is great, dude. This is what we love. I mean, this is what it's all about, man. Just get on the mic and just go.
Well, it's cool, man. Well, we appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know, you made
the
us feel
screening.
Real good.
Anyone out there that want to catch these guys, want to catch Mike Coffey on the silver screen? We're doing the big Bay Area Godfather screen at the Rock. Have you been to Roxy Theater in San Francisco?
Never. I know where it is.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah, right in San Francisco.
16th.
Yeah,
that theater
right by the hole stroke. Where the holes at?
March 29th. Sunday matinee show at noon. So come out. All these guys will be out here for it. A lot of bands. Dude, you're going to know. It'll be like a big family reunion.
Yeah,
for you guys.
basically.
It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The whole Black Rock Coalition don't be
Come on down.
hard on me.
The CIA might come down with their guns. We better be. Maybe I shouldn't have said. Can you cut that out there, Matt? All right, gentlemen. It was a pleasure.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Yes,
Michael,
it
Darren,
was.
Anthony, Stone Vengeance. You
That's
got what?
right.
You got a website or
Yeah,
something?
they can check us out at stonevengeance.com. We're on, all of us are on Facebook individually, and we have Stone Vengeance Facebook. I haven't got into Twitter and all that yet. I try to keep it kind of at a minimum.
Yeah,
keep
you're like
the government
me.
off my back. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's and then the people, a lot of our friends and fans put videos up on YouTube if they want to see.
I saw that. You got
anything.
quite a bit of YouTube
a lot of
pages.
people
Wow.
put they tell us.
Awesome. Yeah,
And
good stuff up there. Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I think that's about it.
And
And if they want to get our Russian,
available for pipeline.
our if they want to get our Russian release, it's on HTH Records. Put out. That's the record company that put it out, a double disc.
In Russia, they put it out.
Yeah,
Wow.
Russia.
Wow.
I got you guys some.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
it's
They
nice.
did a
Very
nice
cool.
job. HTH Records in Russia. They really appreciated the band and people in Russia. We had a lot of fans in the Russian Federation. You know what I mean? And so
That's awesome.
they put out
Yeah.
They did a nice.
You guys are big in Russia. You might have to tour out there.
Yeah, eventually. Take my
Right on.
ibuprofen with me, and
There you go.
And
Gotta have that.
maybe I'll make it out there, man.
All right. Well, gentlemen, it was definitely
Yes,
a
it
pleasure. We will
was.
get you. We'll see you on the 29th. All you
Yes,
guys.
sir.
It'll be a big party. And definitely check out Stone Vengeance 40 years
Yes.
of Bay Area metal. The true God. If anyone's a Bay Area Godfathers, it is these guys right here, man.
Oh,
Stone
thank you,
Vengeance.
man. Thank
you
you,
guys in
man.
Y&T.
We
right up there.
definitely, we just believed in the
You and
music,
Dave
man.
Medichetti.
Yeah.
He's in the
love that.
documentary as well.
Is he going to be there?
I don't know. I think they're going to be on tour at the time. I talked to Jill or sent her
Love
an invite.
that. I love
Yeah.
that first album. With well,
you're
it ain't the first album, but the Earthshaker,
Earthshaker,
and
the Earthshaker
and
album,
the
yeah.
Black Tiger. I
Yeah.
love those.
Keep
Yeah.
on running. Keep on running.
Yeah. Yeah, even I even dug a lot of their commercials.
And you know what Anthony really liked? He liked when we saw him play live at the Day on the Green with
Right.
Metallica.
Oh,
and
you were at that
Convey.
show, yeah.
He likes how when Dave would take a solo, he doesn't try to do it like the record. He
Yeah,
would just
yeah.
do it.
He would go
just
off, yeah.
straight improvisation.
I Believe in You when he did
Yeah,
that solo at the end.
yeah.
Oh man.
And when
that's
Anthony,
just-
he likes that, and he encouraged me to like.
Yeah.
He doesn't like
No
me
problem.
to try to copy it exactly like the record. Some
Right.
parts of the record I'll do.
Sure.
But he likes me to improvise. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I remember that's where he really started from seeing that show. You know what I mean?
huge
But
influence.
how you
yesterday
doing,
today?
D?
I think he
Got
looks
anything to
tired.
say, D?
Any last words there, Darren?
Yeah, last word. Just last word.
Like I'm about to get executed or some shit.
Because I did cut you off, D.
I know, I'm cool in the game,
All right.
bro.
Well, we can always do
It's
a part
all
two,
good.
man. You guys are local, so we'll have you back anytime, man.
We can do that.
And we'll get
Yeah.
Matt involved at this time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have
Yeah.
Matt MC.
Yeah, because it's like.
Sorry
once
we
you-
couldn't get you on a mic,
I think
Matt.
I'll get another mic next time. That's all.
All right.
All right. Yeah, because once we got going, man,
Yeah.
goddamn, you know, then the shit starts coming back, you know, and it's like, it's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
We will.
That was great, man.
To be continued.
Thank you for listening to the Shockwave Skull Sessions podcast. Subscribe and listen to all episodes by going to our pages on iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, Spotify, and more. You can listen to all other episodes and access up-to-date information and news on the Shockwave Skull Sessions podcast by going to our website at www.shockwaveskullsessions.com. Email all comments, questions, and suggestions to shockwaveskullsessions@gmail.com.